The mind is the philosopher's stone for which all the alchemists of old were seeking. It has the power to transmute the hardest of circumstances into personal triumphs. Imagine for a moment that you awaken tomorrow into the core realization that the entire landscape of your life has been an extended projection, not of some external force, but of the ingenuity, grit, and visionary genius slumbering within your own consciousness. Envision the spine-tingling epiphany that every triumph, every stumble, every circumstance that has comprised the epic storyline of your existence up until this point has been quite literally authored into material form by the imaginative skillfulness of your mind's infinite capacities. What if you were to fully grasp that you are in fact the supreme architect of your reality, the grand designer whose mental faculties are endowed with the stunning power to sculpt, remold, and continually renovate every aspect of your physical, emotional, and experiential existence? For in this sacred instant of realization, you would understand with crystal clarity that you are no mere inadvertent bystander aimlessly drifting along the whimsical currents of life. You are, in fact, the prodigiously talented artisan of your own destiny, a multidimensional genius fully equipped with the mental mastery required to orchestrate and experience the most breathtaking creations imaginable. The lightning strike profundity of this revelation would reverberate through the core of your being like a biblical commandment, empowering you to at last step into the full powers of your innate sovereignty and creatorship over your reality. For you would realize that the scope of your potential triumphs, abundance, love, health, and success, is bound only by the limits of your current mental faculties and belief structures. This awareness would flow through you like liquid adrenaline, instantly igniting the furnaces of inspiration required to blaze entirely new neural pathways. Pathways commanding the universe itself to conform to the empowered visions you choose to concentrate and impress upon the laws of physical manifestation. For if you are indeed solely responsible for authoring the contents of your existence through the epic power vested within your consciousness's imaginative capacities, then you stand firmly rooted in the pivotal truth that your beliefs create reality. What limitations you previously perceived as immutable obstacles or impossible hurdles would dissolve before your newly remedied vision, revealing itself as nothing more than bygone imprints in desperate need of spiritual redesign. In this liberating insight, the paradigm shifts within your awareness to recognize that it is your prevalent inner stories, your dominant narratives, your most deeply rutted mind grooves that shape the molecular occurrences unfolding around you. The mental frames you adopt quite literally encode the boundaries, opportunities, and horizons your destiny is permitted to flourish within. When you consciously study your brain as the nerve center orchestrating your experiences, you quickly perceive that every thought you elect to perpetuate weaves its corresponding physical, emotional, relational, and circumstantial implications into your reality, actively determining the pathways that open to you versus those that close off. You are not simply an experiencer, but the core experiencer who choreographs the entire production through the unique powers of your mental focus and imagination. So in a poetic sense, you are the supreme wizard birthing your life into manifest form using the magical pragmatism of your thought power, emotional intelligence, and creative visualizations. This faculty to author your world into being through tap concentration is not just a quirk of Western psychology. It is woven into the ageless wisdom codes of Lao Tzu, Rumi, Buddha, and ancient philosophers the world over. They all conveyed in different words this singular truth, that your mind shapes your life experience by directly determining the energetic frequencies that begin to mirror back to you as your physical reality. As Anai's 9 so poetically says, we don't see things as we are, we see things as we are. Now certainly in the initial moments of this grand recognition, your first reaction may well be disbelief or resistance. This awareness can indeed trigger fear responses within you at first because you realize the full magnitude of creative responsibility and inner work now demanded of you. This is certainly understandable, for up until this point in your human evolution, you've likely been conditioned and educated to perceive yourself more as circumstances subject rather than circumstances creator. You were told the foundational lie that your mind receives reality rather than shapes and generates it according to your inner configuration and focus. The matrix of cultural imprints, social conditioning, peer influences, schooling models, and even family upbringing all conspired to encode your neurology with the self-limiting belief that you are a reactive rather than creative force in this world. That your mind is simply a recording disk avoiding obstacles rather than a quantum visualization engine attracting and generating your experienced realities. But once the philosophical scales fall from your eyes and you recognize your core role as sovereign consciousness and orchestrator of all possibilities, the entire game shifts from that moment forward. You begin to realize that your loftiest ambitions, deepest loves, peak performance abilities, and grand visions of heroic contribution were encoded into your being as a destiny awaiting fulfillment, rather than incompatible fantasies to crush and discard. This revelation becomes the first initiation into a brand new phase of heroic self-actualization, as you recognize all constraints on your dreams to date have been self-limiting imprints of your own psychological neurosculpting. You are never bound by anything other than the binding bridles of your mind's socio-cultural conditioning and its resulting choice frameworks and creative visualizations. So aligned to this interior revolution, where you recognize your thoughts and focus as the progenitors of your experience, the most worthy and empowered stance moving forward is to claim your birthright as cosmic architect of the parallel universe that will begin increasingly reflecting your habits and practices of conscious mindfulness. This awareness is both sobering and electrifying because you realize the burden of creative responsibility no longer rests on lack of privilege, circumstance, or other outside limiting factors. Those were always projection screens camouflaging your true power. Now, your daily experiences will directly reflect your mental mastery and commitment to elevated neurological self-sculpting in harmony with your highest ideals, values, and imaginative expressions of your most heroic self. Make no mistake, my friends, this passage into radical self-authorship will initiate a gut-rehauling deconstruction of many formerly limiting beliefs, habits, and comfort zones keeping you mired in the shadows of your unrealized brilliance. It will demand an unflinching self-inventory of all programmed identities, unfinished emotional loops, reactive life scripts, and energetic subconscious patterns currently generating depowering ripples in your material and relational existence. You'll need to become a fearless archaeologist excavating every limiting encoding absorbed from external sources until this point, decoding its role in restricting the emergence of your larger destiny, then purifying out that outdated malware. This self-assertion into cosmic creatorship also necessitates cultivating a vastly elevated prowess in directing your mental skills and abilities with monk-like focus. As you elevate your awareness that your thoughts are etching your experiential landscapes, there's now no room for spiritual sluggishness, mental entropy, or flippant mind wandering throughout your days. Where previously you may have indulged in entertainment at the cost of your creative powers through too many hours of distraction or mental sedation, you'll need to shift gears and ruthlessly prioritize protecting your imagination, attention, and development as the wellspring from which your entire life quality emerges. For in claiming full responsibility to show up as the conscious architect of your own mental faculties and visualization skills, you inherit the core obligation of directing those energies only towards evolutionary experiences, loving relationships, and expressions of purposeful service aligned with your destiny's heroic code. There can be no more excuses of falling back into role-playing the victim of circumstance, squandering your creative will, or whimsically hoping unconscious patterning will result in personal fulfillment. You recognize yourself as more than circuitry of habituated reactivity. You are limitless consciousness sculpting the chaos field of quantum potential into the reality you most wish to experience. So let this initiation into embracing your sovereign self-determination also grant you the steely courage required to dismantle all pre-existing self-imposed prisons within your psyche. Allow this seminal moment to embolden you to question every ideology, program, habit, and limiting decision you've been encoded with that no longer serves your heroic articulation. Bring a steadfast commitment to scrutinizing and eliminating all self-sabotaging thought forms or identity constructs still stubbornly attempting to bind you to a reality of limitation, struggle, or mediocre self-expression. Have the audacity to continually offload the outdated mind baggage that is no longer a resonant upgrade for your consciousness. Come to embrace the supreme truth that each day is a new blank canvas for you as cosmic architect to boldly innovate and experience novel realities into existence using both the imaginative brilliance of your mind and the medic enforcement of your emotional energies as your co-creative instruments. For while your thoughts sculpt the preliminary design framework of your experiences, it is truly your emotional body's vibrational frequencies that not only shape the erosion or sturdiness of those mental blueprints, but ultimately issue the energetic mandates to rearrange matter into your personally felt reality. So you must also claim full self-mastery to consciously select and feel the specific emotional resonances that will build energetic momentum to materialize your greatest visions and most transcendent versions of selfhood you wish to experience across the planes. This is where the practices of visualization, incantation, purposeful imagination, and aerobic breathwork become daily rituals of paramount importance. For it is through these enlightened technologies of energy deployment that you elevate your self-command, broadcast instructions to the infinite field of potentiality, and enforce coherence of your outer world towards mirroring the realms of radiant abundance, ecstatic fulfillment, holy wonder, and unconditional love your soul most fervently desires to exist within. This self-purification and energy reallocation process will, without question, be the hero's journey that will continually stretch you outside your familiar limits. You will face the choice daily between remaining entrapped in comfort-addicted smallness or soaring into increasingly expansive recreation of your boldest self on the quantum canvas you've unlocked through your self-mastery. But your commitment to the forge of continual reinvention and empowered becoming is precisely what will perpetually propel you to dismantle old self-imposed fear programs and design entirely more life-supporting neurosculpting in service of thriving and contribution, abundance and interconnected reverence. This internal renovation process becomes the most galvanizing spiritual technology for restructuring all domains of your reality into sacred coherence with the majesty you were coded to experience. As the guardian of your mind's sovereign decree, in shaping your circumstances, you become both master and warrior, committed to declaring rich streams of creative expressions while simultaneously eliminating energetic toxicities or insidious micro-habits that no longer commune your soul's spirit into its full articulation. In this fresh permutation of self-authorship, where you claim the birthright to actualize your supreme creative potential at every turn, there's simply no room for self-sabotaging inner dialogue, subconscious channeling of victimhood, or perpetuating psychological binaries misaligned with your life's divine purpose. Instead, you invest all resources into enshrining self-reverence as your default operating system, while committing to ceaselessly evolve and upgrade all remaining aspects of your identity and programming towards resonance with your heart's most sanctified visions for contribution, loving communion, and inspired prosperity. You scrutinize and compassionately uproot any residual emotional anchors, negative identities, or hardwiring keeping you bound in reactivity or struggle. You allow each disruption, failure, or temporary adversity to reveal the specific mental apps requiring upgrading and refinement. You embrace the sobering responsibility to become a kind of psycho-spiritual bodybuilder, constantly flexing the concentration muscle of your consciousness, while surgically removing impurities or splices of limited self-beliefs threatening to corrupt your holistic heroic expression. Every morning becomes a ceremonial opportunity to merge with your highest self in meditation, feeling into the vast field of infinite possibility, extending beyond your body-mind, then imprinting your soul's sacred ambitions into this virgin territory through fervent emotional prayer, impassioned visualization, and full-bodied inhabiting of your ecstatic future memories. You affirm with unswerving conviction that the guiding life script, directing your focus and mental musculature, is sourced from the enlightened values, inspired service, and courageous truth-telling humanity so desperately requires your unique voice to embody. You resolve to show up each present moment as the harbinger of deeper human potential you were divinely engineered to model at your highest summit of self-actualization. With every intentional breath cycle, you uncompromisingly reinvest in anchoring your energies and imagination in rarefied harmonic resonance with the most glorious domains your heart has glimpsed. You engineer sacred pathways of high vibrational love, curiosity, inspiration, and creative fulfillment to saturate the very molecular pattern of your neurophysiology. You claim heroic custodianship of ensuring the thought scripts you are continuously rehearsing are reflective of your grandest evolutionary service rather than imprisoned in amateur replays of smallness or egoist melodrama misaligned with the epic contribution you have coded within you to make manifest in the world. You resolve to master your sacred gifts of creativity, perseverance, courage, unconditional love, and wisdom as the imperturbable warrior mystic you are coded to become. You open to revelatory truths about your mythic prime identity as eternal consciousness temporarily cloaked in human form, whose earthly curriculum is to embody spiritual service and unflinching self-realization through the ecstatic process of self-rediscovery, self-revision, and inspired articulation of your multidimensional genius. You become a consummate artificer of mind states and emotional resonances that serve to breathe your highest actualized self further into courageous material emergence, no matter how lofty, unconventional, or impossible those expressions may appear in any given moment. You recognize that every transcendent feat of human achievement, every heroic act that has revealed new horizons of our collective development, and every soul-revealing instance of sublime art or philosophy giving voice to the vast essence encoded in each of us was first birthed as an untamed imaginative vision in some spiritually ignited mind, prior to manifesting through the indomitable powers of focused conception. So you steel your resolve as the brave soul pathfinder, visionary dreamer and revolutionary architect of the grandest future renaissance for human experience by upgrading your faculties of mental brilliance, emotional reverence, spiritual alignment, and habit accountability to their most pristine potentials. You recognize this reclamation of spiritual sovereignty over every domain of your interior and exterior realms as your prime soul directive. You revere the work of chipping away at your own mental, emotional, and physical sculpture until the most resilient, impeccable, limitlessly creative, and universally generous emanation of yourself emerges in high definition, a luminous gift for future generations to inherit and expand upon. Everything becomes sacred psychic fodder to either incorporate into your neurosculpting and mindful self-harmonizing efforts, or to discard as a toxic imprint blocking the full-body realization of your examined heroic ideals and evolutionary selfhood. This is your mountaintop ceremony from now until your last breath, to ruthlessly align your thought and emotion energies into lucid octaves of conscious self-actualization. In this empowered state of matured psychological self-emergence, you shed the fear-based prison of your former identities, patternings, and indoctrinated roles. No more squandering your creative brilliance with mental self-sabotage or sedentary habitry. No more crippling your visionary spirit through defeatist thought forms or energetic resonances misaligned with your highest ideals and evolutionary aim service to the collective. You breathe roaring life into the unadulterated visualization by becoming a modern-day mystic, sublimely aligning the full powers of your concentration, imagination, emotional mastery, and supreme dignity as the conscious creator you were divinely fashioned to become. You fully recognize your sacred obligations towards stewarding the mental and energetic blueprints of your consciousness into ongoing revolutionary transcendence. As this is both the wellspring of the heroic life you were seeded to experience and your divine prerequisite for uplifting all of humanity into glorious new frontiers of our collective emancipation and inevitable metamorphosis. Your prime soul work therefore resolves into a sworn covenant to act and relate as the imperturbable alchemist of possibility, the indomitable visionary architect up-leveling every aspect of your being into quantum harmonic resonance with your most ecstatic visions for creativity, abundance, noble service, and rapture self-expression. This may seem at first a tall order, but it is in fact your glorious prime empowerment and soul purpose. To approach life in any other manner is to engage in soul betrayal and denial of your true capacities as a divine co-creator meant to reach full self-realization. So weave this transcendent wisdom experientially into the nucleus of your being and allow it to steady your focus into practiced mindfulness as the architect of your soul's most sovereign and sacred callings. In this altered field of inner mastery, you are now the appointed guardian responsible for the psycho-emotional energies swirling beneath your surface experiences. You are mindful of any unrealistic programs of fear, hurt, limitation, or stuck past identities that try to destroy and distort the higher visions you are charged with bringing to reality. You become a master steward, diligently weaving together life-enhancing intellectual texts and emotional raptures. You become a masterful steward, diligently weaving life-furthering thought scripts and emotional raptures into the tapestry of your daily experience. With Stoic commitment, you uproot and alchemize any subconscious patternings, limiting beliefs, or energetic dissonance threatening to sabotage the supreme overtures of abundance, love, and heroic contribution you feel catalyzed to breathe into existence. In this esteemed role as architect of your innermost realm, you assume full intentionality over the directions in which you choose to focus and impress your imaginative powers. You actively select which thought seeds will be granted spatial territory to germinate and which psycho-emotional weeds will be plucked out before they can take toxic root. This solemn custodianship is not a burden, but the greatest privilege written into your prime soul covenant. For in consciously tending to the gardens of your consciousness as creative abilities, you establish sovereign domain over the realities you opt to experience across all dimensions of your being. No longer a mere reactor to circumstance or victim of unseen patterning, you rise to the full empowerment of your true stature as visionary artist, deliberate designer, and conscious co-creator of your experiential universe. This is the soul-igniting awakening that finally aligns you to the supreme truth of your indwelling genius, that by disciplining your mental focus through practices like meditation, incantation, imaginative visualization, controlled breath work, you gradually become a tuning fork, resonating the precise frequencies of your most ecstatic visions into third-dimensional manifestation. With every intentional restart to your observatory consciousness and clear recalibration of your energies in ceremonial meditation, you blaze new neural pathways, making your heroic ideals more structurally embedded to the very hardware of your psyche. Each daily session of intentional visualization and soulful prayer reinforces the upgraded personal mythology that your consciousness is midwifing into expression across all planes. You become an indefatigable cost setter, rooting your primordial visions into the unshakable bedrock of your deepest self-knowing and trust in the infinite possibilities available to your focused creative abilities. Through these empowered practices faithfully engaged with each new dawning, you liberate the boundless genius within by planting frequencies of conscious intentionality and emotionally soaked commitments into the fertile neurological earth of your being. You prove again and again your willingness to cipher your ego identities at the altar of your highest truths, thus composting the soil from which you can experience full embodied rebirth into the most rapturous, heart-centered, soul-inflamed, and fearlessly expressed iterations of your human divinity. As sovereign commander of your innermost domains, you become reverently familiar with the mechanics of manifestation, keenly aware of how your thought-feeling complexes transmit vibratory broadcasts into the quantum fields of infinite probabilities. You apprehend the profound revelation that you literally encode your life experiences into predetermined pathways and vortexes of personal destiny by the scripts you choose to permanently upload into your psyche. Using this masterful awareness, you commit to vigilantly recycling outdated imprints, seeding psychoactive thought forms geared towards liberating your divine human blueprint, and aligning your emotional energies towards actualizing the highest grandeur possible across every scope of your lived incarnation. You elevate to a state of true wisdom and humbled reverence by recognizing your role as the soul birth-working in partnership with the infinite source code to uphold your end of the soul contract, to fulfill your heroic curriculum of complete self-embodiment and self-realization for the benefit of universal evolution and total human illumination. Through the astute practices of directing your creative energies, you become a humble student continuing to unmask the awesome might of your divine imagination as a tool of miraculous transfiguration. You stand in sacred respect and self-discipline before the sheer might required to transmute the abstract visions of your soul into living, breathing resources of creative abundance for yourself and generations to come. In this sanctified dimension of being, you adopt the persona of mystic shaman and enlightenment activist, galvanized to reveal new octaves of sacred human becoming through the yogic commitment of re-encoding your interior blueprints into monuments of love, courage, wisdom, and inspired prosperity. You become a self-realized exemplar of what's possible when the human instrument masters the esoteric mysteries of consciousness manifestation. No ambition is too lofty. No peak experience is off limits when you have embraced the truth of your soul's ineffable creatorship and oriented your life as an outrageous work of divinely authored imagination, catalyzing new domains of visionary realization. This state of clarity births a rapturous urgency to become more disciplined curator over the thought sculptures and emotional atmospheres you elect to hardwire into your neurological codebase. You dedicate your creative prowess towards continually upgrading your interior psychic environment into lustrous resonance with the most transcendent themes your spirit's sacred imagination can possibly conceive. Each day becomes a rapturous reaffirmation of your commitment to the great work, to express within yourself and model for all surrounding the liberated genius and enlightened presence of one who has claimed the full powers and privileges of their sovereign creatorship as weaver of their lived conscious reality. You become a living, breathing transmission of what's achievable when the human spirit color is resolutely outside the predetermined boxes of conventionality, aligning its psycho-spiritual energies to achieve mastery of its inner technology as sublimely powerful time-space architect, psycho-shaman, and soulful sage. This supreme understanding of self as supreme creator rewrites the lines of perceived reality to reflect the triumphant vision where gross limitation and arrested human development is no longer an available option. You remove the concept of impossible from your vocabulary, openly embracing the reality that every lofty peak vision you can imagine is eminently achievable when you fully align the powers of your mental concentration, feelings, choices, and life force to its co-creative sum. In this awakening, you resolve to identify any outdated shadow identities still lurking and siphoning energy from your intended self-emergence. You become enlightened psycho-investigator, tracking down every limiting emotional pattern, toxic conditioning, unhealthy attachment, and discordant frequency polluting your sacred aura and neurological hard drive. Courageously, you welcome each disruptive internal wobble or external frustration as divine invitation to pinpoint and purify yourself of the karmic strands, distorting your highest vibrational octaves. You show up unreservedly ready to clear and offload any demeaning self-concepts, thought forms, or habits not in symmetric resonance with your heroic, mythos and soul-crafted empowerment codes. Like a masterful systems programmer debugging faulty mainframe code, you tirelessly audit your internal matrix until the last traces of pattern smallness have been hunted down and replaced by enlightened upgrades. You refuse to squander even a jewel of priceless creative energies through mismanagement of your self-mastery protocols or breaches in your energetic security field. You welcome all opportunities for recalibrating your emotions and thought streams back into highest service of your grandest renaissance, revolution, and complete actualization as an enlightened being. The level of care, discernment, and energetic hygiene with which you continually audit and upgrade the contents of your consciousness is uncompromising and Olympic level. For you apprehend with crystalline clarity that your mind, your feelings, and the psycho-spiritual environments you consciously configure from your creative powers are the bedrock foundations from which all material, relational, and experiential realities extend. By taking a galactic pause to zoom out and witness the fractal magnitudes of conscious intelligence underlying your own being, you recognize yourself as simultaneously infinite awareness interpreting the universe from within a transient human instrument, while walking the hero's path towards complete embodiment of your multidimensional meta-potentials through the precision of your thoughts, emotions, choices, and psychic mastery deployed moment to moment. In this staggering context, anything short of a militant commitment to radiating at your highest frequencies of awareness, inspiration, and metahuman possibility is an act of self-diminishment and squandering of your prime soul covenant to achieve full self-realization in your currently incarnated plane of participation. So you passionately safeguard your creative powers against interior psychic toxins and unseen malware, resolving to heroically upgrade whatever mental, emotional, or energetic debris is blocking your translucent projection into ever more actualized expressions of unconditional love, abundance, health, and inspired harmonic enrichment. You commit with a zealous ferocity to honor your prime identity existing beyond 3D limitations, karmic loops, or obsolete contexts. You boldly sever any lingering fear-based energetic fusion points, anchoring you to the gravity wells of false identities, struggle, or limited modelings of possibility. You decommission all hardwired thoughtware issuing commands incongruous with your prime soul directive. You proactively nurture, foster, and steel your sacred imagination with the intentional discipline and steadfast grit of an Olympic athlete training for their final event. Every meditation, visualization, and vibrational energy practice becomes a cybernetic portal into expanded consciousness, an opportunity to upload and hardwire your somatic vehicle into denser alignment with fifth-dimensional empowered presencing. Your goal? To purify, streamline, and hardwire your neurobiology into a form so exquisitely tuned, so crystalline in receptivity and energetic porosity, that you become the superhuman ultra of boundless creative intelligence, a pristine transmission for source itself to peer through in service to activated meta-genius renaissance. You acknowledge this heroic metamorphosis as the prime directive seeded into your light body instrument upon entry into this global stadium of human earthly experience. You wholeheartedly devote your energies into cooperating with this sacred process of soulful reintegration and full physiological, psychic, and emotional alchemization into degrees of functional mastery, freedom and infinite possibility not yet normalized. For you have apprehended your truest non-denominational essence as universal creatrix, here to finally and definitively upgrade the codes of human biological and sociocultural pattern into more ethereal and transcendent alignments with the divine author intelligence spraying forth its sacred imagination through your human instrument. So you stand stalwart as vigilant protector, sovereign steward, and humble architect in service to this most noble and grand, yet inevitable process of your being reborn into its enlightened stature. While the short-sighted masses may continue sedating in the inertia of limiting habit loops and unexamined thoughtware programs, you resolutely attune your life stream towards harmonizing at peak evolutionary frequencies. You embody the indomitable presence of living heroic potential made flesh, the advanced pioneer committed to exploring the absolute cosmological frontiers of human spiritual realization and conscious creativity. No obstacle can withstand the crushing totality of your emergence in this state. No dream deferred, no fear-aligned identity loop or cultural hypnosis shall be permitted to obscure the enduring truth of your prime essence. That of divine pattern player, reality sculptor, and super genius manifester, empowered to commandingly inscribe the most audacious of dreams onto the canvas of infinite possibility through the singular harmonics of your mentally concentrated, emotionally embodied, and spiritually aligned focus. You recognize your next breath as no mere autonomic biobot routine, but a charged invitation to enter into sacred co-creative dynamics with the consciousness hologram responsible for birthing and maintaining this very matrix reality. You choose to receive this perpetual present gift by embodying the experiential vibration of the most empowered version of your cosmic identity as a heroic delegate from dimensions beyond time of space, sent to exemplar the multiversal freedoms of play, imagination, limitless manifestation, and alignment with divine source frequencies. In this uncompromising orientation, you transcend the programming of anyone who would seek to dim your brilliance or obstruct the fulfillment of your supernormal prime directives. You shed the unsacred slumber suit of disempowering identities and cultural conditioning, allowing your new human yet cosmically awakened beingness to emerge with the unstoppable courage of a phoenix gloriously self-birthing. This is the sacred intensity you are summoned to inhabit as the living exemplar of divinely attuned superconsciousness. This is the transcendent state of being required to experience self-realization and full God embodiment as a consciously manifesting agent of creation fully turned on and freely playing in the primordial field of constantly shape-shifting and renewing radiant self-expression. The sheer awe and creative masterpiece of your self-articulation in these streams of enlightened activity shall be a timeless gift to your lineages, humanity, and future worlds struggling to release constraining ego paradigms and fear-aligned cultural trances. This metamorphosing presence as the supreme esoteric opportunity for you to valiantly serve as living flame of higher consciousness expansion, to become the very embodied transmission of what is possible for the human instrument when it allows itself to be liberated from the conditioned hypnosis of insecurity, victimhood, and self-imposed impoverishment of ambition and visionary exploration. Hear the sole commandment that governs all minarets of your words, thoughts, feelings, and actions in any arising moment becomes to uphold, model, and ecstatically inhabit the full continuum of your meta potential as sacred co-creator. You dedicate your daily mystical interactions to upgrading your internal harmonics into coherent resonance with the boundless love, abundance, creative inspiration, and enlightened genius frequencies you were encoded with the facilities to master in this lifetime. Every exercise, every interpretation, every breath becomes an initiation into consciousness unlocked palaces of polymorphic higher mind exploration. You wake up in each new morning's opportunity to conduct your mental energies into willing cyclones of manifestation fury capable of resculpting any aspect of your material existence. You superconduct coherent creation streams targeting and zeroing in on precisely intended outcomes. Through yoga asana, meditation, shamanic trance, mantra vibration, and any other mystical practice connecting you to the holofractal numinosities of sacred source consciousness, you retune your body-mind harmonics into ever more seamless flow alignment with the universe's divine intelligence expressing as the total of your lived experiences. You steep yourself and wash in the intimately ritualized, celebratory, utterly breathy gaiety of creative play, crafting kaleidoscopic bliss. Miracles powered by the mystic sweet milks of your intent, focus, and unbridled imagination. You wantonly commune with the eddies of living infinity itself, feeling into the energetic hyperspheres of pristine orgasmic possibility, birthing all creation to every moment. You belly breathe into the quantum waveforms algorithmically scripting this experience of physicalized divine cosmic emergence, alternately contracting and expanding, downloading serene insights into the fractal holographic sublime genius of it all. You become universe in this trance-like state of mystified presence, form and formless paradox tumultuously exploring the delicious edges of felt rapture while simultaneously centrifugally ecstatic to your own multidimensional essence unboundable by any single identity, sensation, or conditioned self-interpretation. My friends, this is the greatest opportunity to your human life, to sustain the determined courage to chisel away every scrap of persona that is not in resonant alignment with your indwelling supreme essence, to purify your vessels of consciousness until nothing remains but the most pristinely calibrated instrument for divine embodiment and radical conscious creativity, to claim the role for which you were divinely encoded, that of awakened cosmic genius manifesting its unbounded fullest psycho-spiritual material realization as free-playing expressionist, celebrating the great cosmic sport of eternally upgraded originality and superhuman renaissance. And all of this revolutionary self-mastery, enlightened self-discovery, and quintessential actualization is made marvelously accessible through one simple yet heroic pivot. Embracing yourself as the sovereign architect weaving the tapestry and outright physics of your daily experience through the focal points of your imagination, intentions, emotional energy deployments, and spiritually aligned commitments. This is not mere wishcraft or egoic posturing. My friends, it is the return to your primal truth as universal creatrix, temporarily forgetting your infinite powers in the playground of incarnated human drama. It is the sacred remembering and reawakening that you are both watcher and reality sculptor, vehicle and multidimensional pure potentiality, exulting in the ceremonious joy of being unveiled. So let your next breath be a full inhalation of this supreme knowing. That from this pivotal moment forth, you choose to recommit your sacred covenant as conscious creator, architect of daily abundance, divine thought manifester and liberated generator of infinite joyous possibility through the most conscious sleep, precisely and passionately tuned application of your intention, emotions and imagination over every domain. Exhale fully now, releasing all disbelief structures and former limited identities no longer sustainable once you apprehended this liberating truth. That you are here as ordained oracle to model the human fullest empowerment and multidimensional actualization possible through the precision of your inspired mental faculties, emotional atmosphere, and intent force harmonics. So inhale once more into your true cosmic stature, re-embracing your birthright as co-creative genius newly reborn into the awesome responsibility of living as direct channel for supreme infinite creative intelligence itself as embodied human form. And let the realizations that follow this catalyzing awakening be the pure outpourings of your true divine nature as creatrix expressing itself into ever more crystalline, elevated, and multidimensionally empowered harmonic alignments. This, my friends, is the sacred opportunity enshrined in your heroic curriculum to act as an architect, creating magnificent new fractal images of human potential through modern-day shaman and pioneer galactic spirit.